Marianne Burroughs. How can that be happening? How can that be happening? Marianne Burroughs.
Fellow Toastmasters and welcome guest, how many of you are getting older? That's right, we're all getting older. But do you remember when you were just a little tyke and you always wanted to be older? And people would say, how old are you? And you would say, I'm 3 3/4 and 5 days old. Because you wanted to learn how to go across the street by yourself, play with your friends by yourself, and then go to school. A few years later, you wanted to be older so that you could get your driver's license, so you could have that independence and be behind the wheel. And then a few years later, you wanted to be older so you could get your first official legal drink. Then it was off to college, maybe get married, have a couple kids. And the years moved on, and one day you come down for breakfast, grab a cup of coffee and the newspaper, and you try to read the newspaper, but no matter what you do, you can't see the words on the page. Aha! It's time for the cheaters. Now, I have to admit, I used to sort of giggle when I saw people with their glasses dangling around their neck or flipped up over their head. But let me tell you, when it happens to you, it's not funny anymore. I had glasses in every room in the house, every drawer, every pocket, every purse, because you never know when you want to be able to see something. Now, some people say that middle age starts to show up around the middle. I call it the Pillsbury dough syndrome. If you've ever made dough, you know, you roll it out and you knead it, and then you put it in the container. And no matter what shape the container is, it starts to rise up around the edges. Well, the same thing starts to happen with your body. No matter how big your waistband is, your midriff starts to rise around the edges. And the thing is, it looks cute on the bread, but not so much over here. And if you go to an all-you-can-eat buffet, it's similar to getting older. What's supposed to be hot is cold. What's supposed to be cold is hot. What's supposed to be firm is limp. And the buns are bigger than anything else. Now, I bet you remember the Rubik's Cube growing up. When you got the Rubik's Cube, all the colors were all lined up and coordinated. And as you began playing with the Rubik's Cube, everything got askew. It wasn't quite the same as it used to be. Well, the same thing happens with the Humix Cube. Things that used to be firm are flipping, flapping, and flopping. Other things are drooping, dropping, and dangling. And there's like a movement around your middle that you don't know what's going on. You look in the mirror and you wonder, who is that? And who took Marianne? And the gifts you receive start to change as well. You used to get shiny jewelry or lovely scented perfume. And now you get a vat of cold cream. And the thing is, you're excited about getting it because your face is starting to look like a map of a foreign country and you don't know where you're going. Now, wouldn't it be nice if we could walk around like this all day, because at least it looks a little better? And my dad used to always say, if you put a plum on the counter, after a couple weeks, it turns into a prune. So why should we be so surprised? And the cards you receive start to change as well. Here's one: just because you're a year older doesn't mean you should throw in the towel. In fact, no, please don't throw in the towel. We don't want to see you without your clothes. Or happy birthday. Turning older makes you start to think, doesn't it? Where am I? What am I doing here? Who am I? And I can certainly relate to that. I need something in the basement. I go all the way down to the basement, get to the bottom step, and I can't remember what I was looking for. Now, I think the good news is I knew I was going to the basement for a purpose. I just don't remember what it was. So I usually stand there for a while and ponder, hoping that just maybe it would come back to me, but it never does. So I climb back up the steps. And when I get to the top of the steps and I firmly plant my feet on the kitchen floor, poof, there it comes. And you might think that this is a memory problem, but personally, I think it is an altitude problem, and the receptors just aren't working that well in the basement. Now, I have a friend who suggests that when you get really old, that all the things you need are on your nightstand next to you: your teeth, your medication, your glasses, and a glass of water. Sounds pretty simple. I don't think I'm ready for that. But let me tell you, there are some perks to getting older. Yep, you get to start collecting on your Social Security that you've been paying into the government all those years. Those little checks are kind of nice. And you receive your AARP card so that you can get those 10% discounts. Well, you have to remember to ask for it. And you get your AARP magazine with all kinds of articles about other old people. And there's usually a page that actually has pictures and years of birthdays for rich and famous. I think they want to let us know that they're getting older as well. And then there's cataract surgery. I wore glasses, contacts, and cheaters since I was in the second grade. I went to the surgery and went through the one eye, then the next eye. And guess what? It's miraculous. I can actually see. I don't need to wear any of those anymore. So, fellow Toastmasters, welcome guest. We can't do anything about the calendar that's flipping day after day, but we can do a few things. We can take care of ourselves, spend time with friends and family, and do the things you love to do. And finally, keep on breathing. Madam Contest Chair.
Thank you, Marianne.